Recorded live in beautiful Colorado, USA. Broadcast around the world. You're listening to the Quarterly Review Podcast. Produced by Three Angels Message Ministry. Your host is Tamara Rookdashel.
Welcome to the Quarterly Review Podcast, produced by Three Angels Message Ministry. I'm your host, Tamara Rookdashel, and today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019, and it's my birthday. I've been told I've got a bit more energy than usual, so bear with me. This quarter has been titled The Least of These. This week we're covering Lesson 6, titled Worship the Creator, and today's lesson is titled A Way to Worship. If you have the printed booklet, please follow along. If not, you can order a copy from our resource library. I will just begin with a word of prayer. Father in heaven, heal us of our rebellious nature. Place conviction upon our hearts to treat others as if we were treating you. Help us to see the need around us. Help us discern where you would have your Spirit lead. Give us ears to hear your instruction and your heart to be moved with compassion for others. Too many of us think of worship as a solemn, inwardly focused religious practice, but its true form is to release men and women from their burdens of sin, eliminate oppression, and to promote justice, liberty, and peace. Show us how to stop working against your will and your Spirit, and join in with your Spirit according to your will to accomplish great works upon the earth. Send us as emissaries. In Yeshua's name we praise you, love you, and thank you. Amen. If you do not have a printed quarterly workbook, we recommend writing down and looking up the Bible text in your own Bible, regardless of whether we read the entire text to you or only refer to it. It's also recommended that you write down your answers to the questions so that they inspire further thought, to inspire action, to inspire change in your life and the lives of those you may impact. For your use, or if you lead out in a small group or Bible study, we have made available a free PDF download of just the questions for each week available within our blog post. So, Wednesday, August 7th, A Way to Worship. In their explanation of the relationship between worship and justice, there is another step urged by the prophets, that an active concern for relieving the poor and oppressed and helping those in need is an important part of worship itself. Isaiah 58 is one chapter that makes this link obvious. I love Isaiah 58. Actually, he's one of my favorite prophets. What has gone wrong in the relationship between God and his people, as described in the early part of this chapter? So I will be reading out of the Complete Jewish Bible, Isaiah chapter 58. Shout out loud, don't hold back, raise your voice like a shofar. Proclaim to my people what rebels they are, to the house of Jacob their sins. Oh yes, they seek me day after day and claim to delight in knowing my ways, as if they were an upright nation that had not abandoned the rulings of their God. They ask me for just rulings and claim to take pleasure in closeness to God, asking, why should we fast if you don't see? Why mortify ourselves if you don't notice? Here is my answer. When you fast, you go about doing whatever you like, while keeping your labors hard at work. Your fasts lead to quarreling and fighting, to lashing out with violent blows. On a day like today, fasting like yours will not make your voice heard on high. Is this the sort of fast I want? A day when a person mortifies himself? Is the object to hang your head like a reed and spread sackcloth and ashes under yourself? Is this what you call a fast, a day that pleases Adonai? Here is the sort of fast I want. Releasing those unjustly bound. Untying the thongs of the yoke, letting the oppressed go free, breaking every yoke, sharing your food with the hungry, taking the homeless poor into your house, clothing the naked when you see them, fulfilling your duty to your kinsmen. Then your light will burst forth like the morning. Your new skin will quickly grow over your wound. Your righteousness will precede you, and Adonai's glory will follow you. Then you will call, and Adonai will answer. You will cry, and he will say, here I am. If you will remove the yoke from among you, stop false accusation and slander, generously offer food to the hungry, and meet the needs of the person in trouble, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your gloom become like noon. Adonai will always guide you. He will satisfy your needs in the desert. He will renew the strength in your limbs so that you will be like a watered garden, like a spring whose water never fails. You will rebuild the ancient ruins, raise foundations from ages past, and be called repairer of the broken walls, restorer of the streets to live in. If you hold back your foot on Shabbat from pursuing your own interests on my holy day, if you call Shabbat a delight, Adonai's holy day, worth honoring, then honor it by not doing your usual things, or pursuing your interests, or speaking about them. If you do, you will find delight in Adonai. I will make you ride on the heights of the land, and feed you with the heritage of your ancestor Jacob, for the mouth of Adonai has spoken. In this chapter in Isaiah, well, like so many others, his people are rebellious and fake. They say they delight in knowing and being close to God, but they use religion to make themselves miserable and separate themselves from him. As we have seen previously, this criticism is addressed to people who are actively religious. They seem to be earnestly seeking God, but apparently it's not working. So, God says they should try changing how they worship, to try a different way of serving God. If he were to choose how they would worship, it would be, quote, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. Isaiah 58, verse 6, NIV. They also would feed the hungry, give shelter to the homeless, and help those in need. Such activities are not presented as the only way to worship, but God does urge them as a way to worship, and a form of worship that might be preferable to some of the people's more traditional worship practices. As such, worship is not only inwardly focused, but something that brings blessings to all those around the worshipers of God. The true purpose of religion is to release men from their burdens of sin, to eliminate intolerance and oppression, and to promote justice, liberty, and peace. This is found in the SDA Bible Commentary, Volume 4, page 306. In Isaiah 58, verses 8 through 12, God promises blessings in response to this form of worship. In effect, God is saying that if the people were to be less focused on themselves, they would find God working with them and through them to bring healing and restoration. Interestingly, this chapter also connects this kind of worship with renewal of delight-filled Sabbath keeping. We have already considered some of the strong connections between Shabbat and ministry, but these verses include both these activities in this call for the people to realize their worship and to discover God's blessings. Quote, upon those who keep the Sabbath of the Lord is laid the responsibility of doing a work of mercy and benevolence, end quote. Found in Welfare Ministry, page 121 in our resource library. We hope you enjoyed our review of today's quarterly lesson. Please visit us online to see what other services we offer and to become involved in the conversation within our forum. If you are also looking for groups in your area that are studying with us, we can provide information to connect you. If you are looking to find or purchase materials we reference in our podcasts, videos, or PDFs, please visit us online at www.3am-ministry.org. We look forward to connecting with you online in the future and in God's kingdom. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for joining us today. To find out more about our ministry, listen to older podcasts, read additional articles, join our forum, access printable PDFs, or order your own published quarterly booklet, please visit us online at www.3am-ministry.org. Have a blessed and prosperous day.